In the 1920s and 30s, Daytona Beach, Florida became the capital of the speed world, with 2 long straights, one on sand and one on road, connected by 2 deeply rutted sandy corners. 15 different land speed records were set there. With the repeal of Prohibition, moonshine runners needed a reason to drive their hot rods, and racing was the way to go. NASCAR was formed in Daytona and is now the USA's most popular racing series. And even though the tracks are simple, no offense to them, the characters behind the cars are far from plain. Join me as I take us through 3 of NASCAR's wackiest characters here on Cheeky Tales.
What do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do with my hands.
Cheeky verse. If you haven't listened to Aaron's Prohibition episode, go back and listen to that before this one because you're going to get some.
It's a subtle link, yeah.
There's a link.
It's like I was in a spaceship. Go real fast.
Welcome to this week's episode of Cheeky Tales. Yeah.
How many Talladega Nights references are we going to get?
So many.
Yeah, maybe a few. Because
So
one of
many.
the 2 of the characters are pretty yokely, which fit the Talladega Nights thing. Actually, no, all 3 of them are.
Sweet, dear,
So-
sweet baby Jesus.
I'm your host this week. Sean. These 2 are as distracting as always, my ever popular co-hosts, John and Aaron.
I'm Aaron.
Oh, he's actually said something that's not a direct quote from
Yeah,
the movie.
From the movie, yeah, talking in quotes. Yeah, so
You were trying to think of one, weren't you?
so welcome back to this week's episode.
Welcome back.
This fortnight's episode.
So you're doing a characters of NASCAR.
Characters of NASCAR, yeah.
Let's start with,
NAS characters.
I seen highlights from Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah.
Who's currently driving.
The Giz.
The Gears, yeah.
You mean
NASCAR?
when he's on fake NASCAR tracks?
Ones that aren't just left turns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is such a complaint this year. All right, we're going to get into a bit of NASCAR.
Hang on.
That's okay.
The Americans can't say his name. Have you seen?
No, they can't
Have
get
you
it
seen
right,
the
yeah.
clips of them trying to?
Gisbergen.
Yeah, they can't say Van Gisbergen. It's
Yeah, they can't get it.
It's
Van
so.
Gisbergen.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's not hard. It's not a very
Van
difficult name.
Gisbergen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so funny.
No, they're all
he-
blowing up about how many road courses there are
But
this year.
he's tearing it up over there at the moment.
Yeah,
isn't he?
like they
in
can't.
the road courses.
Oh, okay.
They can't just do super speedway courses
Yeah.
every race. It would be pretty boring. And obviously then they become these highlight events. They do Daytona, they do
Yeah.
Talladega. They got North Carolina as well. Like the super speedway tracks are like the highlight events. And that's okay, especially because their scoring system and how they decide at the end of the season is nonsense.
Oh, the NASCAR playoffs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
NASCAR playoffs now, which was previously known as the race to the cup. Before that, it was the sprint to the cup. Before that, it was something. It's a little complicated, and I'm not going to get into
The
the
Piston Cup.
specifics. Yeah, I'm
He
not
did
going to
what
get.
in his cup?
I'm not going to get too into the specifics of NASCAR
Tee
in
that
this
one up.
episode. So if you are here to enjoy the history of NASCAR, I hate to tell you, I'm not going to be covering the history of NASCAR. That would take me a long time.
I hate you.
Another week.
Another week.
I hate you.
But for those that are listening from countries that don't understand NASCAR, i.e. everywhere except the southeast of the United States,
Picture yourself looking at an oval.
NASCAR.
Hang on. Before you get into the story, Sean, I think there's a little bit more housekeeping we need to take care of.
What's that?
Did we do our homework?
No.
Do you mean did you eat 2 kilos of nuggets?
No, that's not the homework.
Coming up
'cause
on
that's
this
not-
channel,
That's,
John eats
that
2
has-
kilos
no,
of chicken nuggets
that hasn't
live.
been discussed to do that.
Oh, it has.
Did you watch War of the Worlds?
No.
No, neither did I.
Neither did I.
I watched a video. It was called A Pointless Hub on YouTube. He did a breakdown of the movie, and he was not complimentary.
I watched the small little intro bit that runs on the homepage of Amazon
Okay.
Prime when you
Yeah.
hover over, and that was enough.
Oh, well, that's
I
still
went,
coming then. So that's
bad.
We'll
We need to put ourselves through that.
yeah.
Yeah,
What
we-
I saw was awful.
We'll,
Yeah, it looked
we'll
bad.
defer our homework this week for another
We're going to
We'll
watch
defer the-
War of the Worlds while John eats 2 kilos of nuggets.
And
That's
I'll
a
eat,
reference that very few people get, but John,
Probably the nugget eating is going to be more interesting.
I'll eat the vegetarian nuggets. You'll eat some nuggets.
yeah, I will partake. But John, after Sean and I went to the Brisbane exhibition, we were talking about a 2 kilo nugget food option that you could get. And John was like, I could eat 2 kilos of nuggets. And that kicked off probably an hour of us just berating him and saying that he had to put his money where his mouth was.
Get in the comments and let us know. Like, not if I could do it, but 2 kilos of nuggets isn't that much, right?
It's
Just get
so
in the
much.
comments.
So much.
2 kilos of nuggets is so much. What are you talking about? All right, we're going to get down a rabbit
We're
hole.
getting down a rabbit hole.
John's going to eat 2 kilos of nuggets while we watch War of the Worlds.
Yes. Anyway.
One more before we go. I
Yep.
did make a promise. I have to shout out to my daughter, Jasmine. Happy birthday for yesterday. She turned 13.
Happy birthday to you. Hip, hip.
Hooray!
Hooray. Hip, hip.
Hooray!
Hip, hip.
Hooray!
I am not editing that out.
But
Thank you.
you could and just make that a little bit just for a bit of fun.
I could.
Thank you. I'm sure she'll appreciate it.
I think
So,
she will, yeah.
2 teenagers in the house now.
Teenage.
NASCAR, for all our non-American viewers, including us, NASCAR is stock car racing. The original premise was moonshine runners, but it came from the concept that the cars were stock. You could buy a body and a chassis. They had to be ones that you could buy off the
They
shelf
were
and race
stock
them.
chassis.
When they were stock bodies as well. So when they originally started, there was 3 categories. So they had like sport, light, compact, the main sort of cup series, and then they had a modified series. Now the modified series is actually still going. They're open wheeled, but they're just
was that a NASCAR series?
yeah, it's officially a NASCAR. It's woo down the tier list, and they just look exactly like NASCAR bodies if they just kind of like paper mache just the middle of the car. So it looks like just a framed version of a regular NASCAR. It doesn't look like a cool open wheeler. Anyway, so they started out with those ones, and it became the main sort of series became the most popular, which they call it the Cup series. It's had lots of different sponsors over the years. Most famously, for a long time, it was the Winston Cup, then the Nextel Cup, then the Nextel Sprint Cup.
What's
Then
Winston?
Winston was a cigarette company.
Don't do ciggies.
It was a cigarette company. Yeah, and the lower tier one was and I am going to talk about it a little bit. I'm going to bring up the Busch series, and that was Busch beer.
Mm.
It was
yum.
like Amstrad Busch or whatever it was called. Yeah.
Boosh.
So that I do cover that a little bit. I briefly glance over it, but that's what the lower tiered series was called in the 80s through the 90s. Unlike other sports, they actually held most of these sponsors for like 20 years at a
Decades,
time. Like it was pretty impressive.
Well, when they're like beer and cigarettes, yeah, those companies are going to stick around.
Yeah. So that's NASCAR. Now, there's lots of different types of tracks, but the super speedways are the ones that we bring the most attention to because they're the ones that get covered the most because they're also kind of funny. Big round oval tracks and they go really fast.
Are you trying to wave a flag?
He's waving
I'm doing
flag.
a green flag.
Yeah.
This is the start of the story.
The start of the story.
So this is a visual pun.
Ah, right.
Visual.
Green
pun.
flag, Sean, go.
Green flag, green flag.
So I'm going to talk about 3 weird characters in the history of NASCAR, and they're all pretty interesting. So we're going to start off with our first one.
Bobby.
The Lord watches over idiots and drunks, so I had him covered on both ends.
Wow.
Clinton Delmer Cowart was a swimming pool contractor from Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah.
Savannah.
So
Banana.
he wore lots of white suits.
Probably not if he was a swimming pool contractor.
He would have had money.
If he spilled chlorine on himself, you wouldn't tell.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't like a
Oh, I
plantation
say, I
owner.
do say so.
He began racing in the
This
second
chlorine,
tier.
it stings.
He began racing in the second tier of NASCAR, known then as the late model sportsman division in the 1970s, which became the Busch series. Delmer never claimed to be an amazing driver. He just really loved the sport, loved racing. It was his hobby. Already making a name for himself as a larrikin at the time, he famously crashed into a wrecked car at full speed that was in the middle of the track. Neither himself or the driver were injured, but
I thought you were gonna say survived.
but another driver was critically injured by trying to avoid the error.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What a dick.
Yeah, he wasn't very good. He did it because it was fun. Apparently, he just didn't notice.
What,
that
crashed
this
into
car-
the parked car?
Yeah, he did. Well, it spun out and like wrecked in the middle of the track. He just didn't notice and hit it full speed.
Oof.
After a rather uneventful career in the lower tier, he decided that it was smart to enter the Winston Cup Series, NASCAR's highest division. He stated that due to changes in the structure of the lower tier, it was now just as financially viable to race in the Cup Series as it was in the lower tiers, which is kind of crazy. That like they changed it and they're like, oh, this is where it's going to be. And they're like, man, I can race in the top tier and it costs me the same. I lose and I win the same amount of money.
Cost me the same or less.
Yeah. So in 1981, Delmer finally qualified for the Atlanta Journal 500 and finished 18th. Oddly enough, it was one of his best finishes. He actually, his highest overall finish was 17th,
Cool.
which was at the Firecracker 400 at
18
Daytona.
starters.
He had 21 races total.
Yeah, but how many racers?
How many racers? About 40 usually.
Okay, middle of the pack.
Middle of
A little bit more than middle of the pack. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Now,
when you say like fields of 40, it is phenomenal when you see those videos of like at the start of the race when all 40 go by at top speed. They're just like for like 30 seconds.
Well, that was only 5 cars. You're missing 35.
True.
now, back in the old days at the super speedway tracks, they had minimum speed that they had to run. Like you had to be over a certain amount of speed, and it'll come up later. But like in the 70s and 80s, it was like 180 miles per hour. So you got 40 cars doing 300 Ks an hour.
Yeah.
Like, it was, in like old cars. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, like one wrong move, you are dead, as is everyone around you.
Well, they're big steel boxes, so there's a little bit of protection. It's not like fiberglass.
So
yeah.
Delma, he specialized in the super speedway tracks. He really only, like some of the golfers that only enter the majors, he just went and tried to qualify for the really big ticker ones like Daytona and Talladega. He did apparently once race in North Carolina in 1992 and did poorly, as you'd expect. Now, throughout his career, his car numbers were small. He only used 3 total. He raced at number 49 at Daytona, did not qualify. Number 37 once in the lower tier, didn't qualify again. But most famously, he had number 0 on the side of his car.
Nice.
And the reason he picked number 0 is he said that was his chance of winning. There's a great photo of him like just like next to his car pointing at the number 0. It'll be probably in the supplemental content. He just liked number 0. He was just didn't mind. He just was happy to be part of the pack. And everyone was very fond of him.
Always a 0, never a hero.
Yeah, pretty much. In 1992 at the Daytona 500, he finally made
that shirt now.
he finally made the pack, and he actually made his trademark quote that year where he said, "I ain't never won a race, though I ain't lost a party."
Okay.
That's pretty sick.
Due to an accident during qualifying, Delma managed to qualify 13th
Nice.
and officially made the big race, which he was very excited about. So when he did make the big race, he went out and hired a doctor, and he said, "When we made the race, I went out and hired a team physician. I figured we needed a team physician. I figured we needed one for all the physical requirements of the crew. What does the doctor specialize in? He's a vet, because all we got in our crew is a bunch of dogs."
Oh.
That was an official statement. So
I would love to see that with like all the sponsor stuff behind, like, and they're like, "Oh, what do you think of qualifying?" "Well, you see, we had to go out and get ourselves a doctor because I got a bunch of dogs in this team." Great.
I felt like I was there. I just got transported to 1970s America.
1992.
Oh, I do say so. It's very hot over here.
After qualifying, he decided to throw a big party for everybody, as you can imagine. He's a larrikin. And apparently he didn't go home or even near the track until Sunday.
When the race was on?
When pretty much the race. He just didn't go anywhere near any prep or anything. Just rocked up on Sunday.
Yep.
That year's race had a lot of dramas, and Delma managed to finish 25th, earning him enough money to buy a big screen TV and for the travel to the next race in Rockingham, where he finished 35th.
What year was this?
92.
92.
92.
Oh, so a big TV would have been like
A big flat screen TV.
27
It was
inches.
it was like a huge rear projection.
Oh, one of
thing.
them.
Yeah, one of the
Right.
big dog ones. Yeah.
Probably its own stand.
Yeah.
Weighs like 65
Takes
kilos.
5 men to lift.
I figured the number that he won was irrelevant, but I think he got like $20,000 for coming 25th or something like that. Like it wasn't really too bad.
Not bad.
Delma had very little
Get you a tank of
success.
petrol these days.
He had very little success after that. He pretty much never really ever qualified for Daytona ever again. He'd rock up and try it. And every year until 1997, he didn't make it. His last race was the Winston Open of 1997, where he was flagged off the racetrack shortly after the start due to the car not passing the inspections as it wasn't ready. He just decided to drive it out anyway when they said, "Start your engines."
Yeah, wow.
Apparently that his justification was, he goes, "This is it's not for pride, it's not for place, it's for money, and the team makes money if I race. It's for the team." And he just decided to go out and try and race. He goes, "We put all this money into it. We did everything," because they were working on the car the entire time. They missed all the scrutineering, they missed all the checkovers because they were still going. And like just before they said, "Start your engines," they said, "Oh, it's not ready to go." He just walked in the car and turned it on and went for it. And they went,
Get out of here.
"Get out of here. Black flag, off you go." And everyone was
So
like,
he was kind of like an independent.
no, he was part of all the teams. Like a lot of them at the time were like funded by whatever. You had all sorts of funny teams. And I'll talk about a weird team in one of the later stories. You had ones sponsored by like anybody. And basically it was due to this thing like how Bathurst used to be. If you qualified, you're in.
Yeah, I'm just trying to picture that because it would never happen today if someone just
No,
rocking up
it would
in a
never
car
happen today. No, because the
and
money,
entering into the race.
the money
or
would be
qualifying for the race.
insane.
Yeah.
Now, like back in the 70s, it was like if you had a Chevy Chevelle SS and stripped all the insides out of it, you could race in NASCAR.
Yeah, right.
Like it was wild.
Simpler times.
And then also this weird thing, which I'll talk about, called Alabama's right to work, but we'll get into that. In 1998, he retired from racing.
Sweet home Alabama.
Yes. In 1998,
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Lord, I'm coming home to you.
do I need to include my hot take from the other night?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, tell us why you hate
Oh, can
Leonard Skinner.
You're going to have to cut it.
Why does Sean hate Leonard Skinner?
No, I just said my hot take is Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said it at the bar the other night and Zane slapped me, and in the process he followed through and also slapped Aaron.
He slapped Sean and then went through
So-
into me.
Three
Aaron
Stooges
was-
style. Like,
Yeah, he was not prepared. He was like, oh!
I was just sitting there like,
It was really very funny to be a part of. Please.
It's funny to tell the story of.
Yeah.
So in 1998, he retired from racing at a pub. He
I'm
was
gonna tell-
sitting at a bar and just declared his retirement to everybody.
Yep.
He stated, "I'm a dinosaur. There ain't no room for guys like me no more. To me, racing was a hobby. Now you got to have money."
Yeah.
Yeah, which is not entirely
It was
wrong.
around that time that, you couldn't do anything unless you had corporate sponsorship and like you couldn't self-fund.
You can, yeah. Now, Delma said some kind of wacky stuff.
This
so
is
I
where we
figured
find out he was a massive racist.
to put in like his
was-
his laughing clown sort of act. I thought I'd include three of my favorite of his
He
quotes.
wasn't wearing a white suit, boy. He was wearing a white.
He put the hood on.
I was going to say, yeah, white hood with white
Boo.
curtains.
Can't bring up.
Cheeky House says no.
We can't bring up the clan. We can't.
No, you're the one that brought up the clan.
Everybody
You said
knows
the
the clan.
clan.
We were
Everybody-
alluding.
No,
We were alluding.
Everybody.
you're the one that said the K word.
Everybody. It's too well known.
It's also a major allegation to throw at this random guy.
Just a very nice man by all
He
accounts.
sounds like a great guy.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know where you're going to
Team,
clip.
you look flustered, Sean.
I don't know where you're going to clip that.
He's the secret, is he? Not.
Just clip some of it. Maybe I'm going to edit this episode.
Yeah, okay.
I don't have any
three,
time.
Your three favorite quotes
All right.
from Delaman,
So I had
Delma.
Clinton Delma Cow. I don't know where Delma came from.
Delamain?
There was no.
I don't
yeah.
know. There's a character in Cyberpunk called Delamain, and I thought this might have been a reference to him.
So three of my favorite of his quotes. He said, "One time my spotter asked me about a wreck in turn 2 and I told him, what wreck? By the time I got around to it, they had plenty of time to clean it all up," insinuating he's
He was
very,
very
slow.
slow.
Far behind.
Yeah.
One of his other quotes, "It's pretty simple. All the big races pay the most money. And if you luck up and win the race, well, last place pays $48,000. And Lord knows I can use the money. I got 3 ex-wives. I'm so broke I can't pay attention."
Amazing.
Okay,
Yeah. Which I
not
think
bad.
I heard it that I'm so broke I can't pay attention in a country song once, and I didn't realize that maybe it was very common. But let's just say that it was 100% a Del McCow original, but I love it.
Oh, sir, I do say.
And my last
The whole quote, boy. Go on.
last
I'm
Delma,
too poor to even to pay attention.
my last Delma quote. I got smashed. I just smashed it to the floor and told the good Lord that if he'd help me get through turns 1 and 2, I'd take it from there.
Yeah, nice. Sounds like I made that rode the wall and then changed
Yeah.
the rules.
Yeah. Just he was a hell of a character, and I'm sure he would have been the most fun person to be around in the field. He raced.
Is he
with-
dead?
I can't remember if he passed away. I didn't have it written down. I think he has passed away. He was fairly old when he retired.
Rip.
We can fact check everything later. All right. Up next, the disappearing driver.
Ooh.
I've had this one in the notes page for like 2 years, so I'm excited to cover it.
Too spooky.
In April 1982, a
Whoa,
Nashville.
whoa, whoa. It's not October yet.
In April 1982, a Nashville newspaper was contacted to promote a driver that had declared that he was entering the Winston 500 as a racer.
Is it Harold Holt?
Niche.
Got him.
I'm just about to get on the plane to fly over to race in NASCAR, guys. I'm just going to take a swim.
His name was L.W. Wright, and he was apparently part of the Music City racing team, which was, at the time, a racing team that had drivers in events and was sponsored by country music singers and record people, and it was like a pretty niche thing. Mel Haggard, like Waylon Jennings, T.G. Shepherd, like it was pretty popular. Problem was, no one had ever heard of him. To enter a race only required a few things. You had to pay the entry fee, which he paid for with a check. You had to pay the race license, which he also paid for with a check. And have a car, which he did.
I'm glad you said that because I was ready to jump on. You need a car.
He had a car. Now, this might not seem right, but due to the rights to work laws that existed at the time, NASCAR were obliged, and as they have said, they were handcuffed to the fact that they had to let him enter the race. Like, they had to let him enter qualifying.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't have to make the big race, but he had to legally be allowed to attempt qualifying because he paid the fees and he had a car.
Yeah.
Which he did. Now, Wright approached the head of a Nashville-based marketing agency for assistance with sponsorship and buying a car. He somehow managed to talk the head of the company, Bernie Terrell, into giving him $30,000, a semi-trailer truck, and $7,500 to cover expenses. Wright used the money to buy a Chevy Monte Carlo from Sterling Marlin, a fellow racer, for $20,000, which he paid for with $17,000 in cash and a check. Sterling was very suspicious of all this money getting thrown around from a person he'd never heard of.
Yeah.
So he decided to volunteer to be his crew chief and follow him to Talladega for the race. A good idea in the end. With huge confidence and a story about competing in over 40 Busch Series races, which is the lower tier that I talked about before, Wright conducted a newspaper interview about his entry to the race, stating that T.G. Shepard, a country singer, as another sponsor. Shepard immediately denied it and said he'd never even heard of Wright or his races. Wright then stated that his races were actually not part of the Busch Series, but they were sportsman classes at the same racetracks on the same days.
Smart.
Starting to...
Sorry, did you think that I said Busch Series?
No, I said the Busch racetrack.
I said I was there.
This began to build further suspicion about this mysterious new driver, and Sterling started to notice that the driver would ask questions of other racers that any and every racer should already know.
Hey, which pedal's the fast one? What's this circle thing do?
Heading out for qualification, Wright
How do I open the door?
Heading out for qualification, Wright managed to qualify for the race just in 36th spot with a top speed of 187 miles per hour, 7 miles per hour over the minimum requirement. For context of how fast cars were at the time, Benny Parsons became the first driver ever to qualify at over 200 miles per hour in pole position for the same race. Big difference.
13 mile an hour.
He was...
Maths. We got a bad track history of maths in there.
Yeah, we have bad math. The bad math thing. Once the green flag fell, Wright did everything in his power to get out of the way of the other cars.
Yeah.
After 13 miserable laps, unable to maintain 180 miles per hour, probably due to fear, as you'd imagine, he probably wasn't knowing what he was doing, he was ordered off the track. What's most amazing, however, is that once back in the pit, he abandoned the car and disappeared forever.
Wow.
For 40 years.
Must.
40 years.
It's been 40 years.
Terrell, the boss of the marketing agency from before, he managed to recover the car and every single check that L.W. Wright had used to pay people for tires, jackets, parts, fuel, the car, rent for his house, they bounced for insufficient funds.
Cool.
Unsurprisingly there. Sterling was interviewed about his disappearance and said, it didn't really surprise me. I sort of expected it.
Then why'd you keep giving him stuff?
That's why he followed him.
Stop expecting checks.
Now, Sterling, he was the one that sold him the car and went,
Yeah.
I'm going to follow this dude. He didn't give him anything else. He's like,
Right.
all right, mate, all right.
Yeah. To be fair, he did qualify.
He did. So Wright was eventually tracked down about 39 years later, and a warrant had been out for his arrest the entire time, and they never found him.
Arrest?
Yeah, arrest.
Well, he did like fraudulently give people checks.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So in 2022, a podcaster found Wright, interviewed him to clear his name, and he verbally confirmed in the podcast and with the video about who he was. He got him to, because obviously no one had seen him in 40 years. He brought out like his original racing suit with his name stitched on that could be identified all the way down to the stitching.
Yeah.
Everything matched up. So he did this big long interview to try and get him to clear his name.
What was his real name? DB Cooper?
It was something like his name was something W.
LJ
Wright.
Hooker? Oh.
Yeah, he went with LW Wright, but his name started with an L. So in this podcast, he covered over a few more specifics of the things. In particular, you get a feeling of like how little he knew what he was doing. He'd brought in a crew of people that were not race experts. He just found some people along the way. In particular, his brother was in the crew, And he remembers he stood on the track and looked at the main straight towards turn 1 and said to his brother, God help me, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it around that at the right speed. He was like, this is going to be real scary. Like, it's going to be real scary.
I got to go fast.
I got to go fast. 300,
What was that? Was that the other cars?
300
There's
kilometers
other
an hour.
cars?
He had to go 300 Ks an hour. Like, and he was like, oh, in a 1966 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Like, nah. Like,
That'd be scary in today's road cars.
that's scary. And like, can you imagine getting in my Volvo was newer than that. Would you get in my Volvo and go 300 kilometers an hour right now? Would you go 150 kilometers an hour in that car? No, that is scary. For the 40th anniversary of that race, the podcaster released the recordings and the interview with Wright. And it was a massive hit. Unsurprisingly, the next year, Wright was officially arrested by the US Marshals Fugitive Task Force
Oh, man.
for theft, burglary, and evading arrest. What's the difference between theft and burglary? I don't know. I didn't bother checking, but
At one point in my life, I did know the difference.
I'm sure that there is some specific American thing.
I think burglary requires you to break in.
There we go. He died 1 year later at the age of 74.
Oh.
Unknown where he was when he died. There wasn't any information about it, but he passed away 1 year later.
In
I'm assuming
jail.
I'm assuming as an old man.
Don't
they
do
just
crime.
probably took a year to do the damn trial.
No cigarettes, no crime.
Yeah.
LW Wright. He's been on my list for ages. He was the one I really wanted to cover. And our
You're the one that I want.
So LW Wright, and he wanted to race with only left turns.
with only left turns.
Yeah, nice.
That's good. That's a good joke.
After two
Jeez. All right, boy. Jeez, okay. All right.
after two of the cheekier characters in the NASCAR cheeky verse, we're now up to the last one,
Cheeky drivers.
who is easily the most famous.
Yep.
And he's not a driver this time. It's Smokey Unick.
Oh, okay.
If you haven't heard of Smokey Unick, he's actually quite a famous bloke.
I thought you were going to say it was Lightning McQueen.
Henry Smokey Unick is very well known these days, and this is purely due to his utter adherence to the theory of loopholes.
Okay. I like this
Smokey-
guy already.
Smokey pushed boundaries like no one else could. Across multiple disciplines of racing, Smokey found ways to improve what a car was capable of. From giant wings on Indy cars to reverse torque engines that rotated the other way for better cornering.
Ah.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Didn't necessarily work that well. Still cool.
But like, so you like trying to use the centrifugal force of
Of the
motor
engine
to
Yeah.
to help turn better.
That's nice.
It's crazy.
I like this guy because it's not like, is it illegal? No. Is it legal? No. Let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
Yeah.
And if you've never really experienced how engines move, it's quite fascinating. Boxer engines are a really good example. If you ever get on a motorcycle with a boxer engine, no.
Well, yeah, but
They go outwards from each other. I know you're doing a boxing pose, but boxer
Yeah,
engines go like this. If you get on a motorcycle that has a boxer engine like a BMW or a BMW, when you twist the throttle, the whole bike goes, and it tilts towards whichever the first cylinder firing is. It's actually quite a funny experience. And you can imagine he was like,
That doesn't sound fun.
nah, it's pretty cool.
so just to clarify on that, the normal alignment of cylinders in an engine is either in a line, which is inline, or a V.
I'll do the inline one.
Yeah, or a V, which is like that, where they go sort of like 45-degree angle.
And then a boxer, they go outwards.
yeah.
Please
Like-
don't try and explain rotary.
Like, no, we're not going to explain
Rotary
the
is-
Wankel engine. Yeah,
Rotary is magic.
it's witchcraft.
It's just, if you want to look up what magic is,
It's a triangle in a circle and it goes fast.
And it's very inefficient, but it does go fast.
and it sounds great.
And then you've got boxes, you got V twins, transverse mounted V twins. There's all sorts of different engine configurations. Yeah. Anyway, he even dabbled in drag racing apparently, but I couldn't find much information about that. But being that he had his own garage called the Best Damn Garage in town,
Nice.
in Tallahassee in Florida. He did some racing.
Some racing.
He
Gotta
did
go fast.
Now he did drive a little bit in his lifetime, and he did some racing. But
So
by
was he
the
like
time,
more of a pit crew chief?
he was an engineer. He was an engineer and a mechanic.
Yep.
By the time we get to all this stuff, he's in his 40s and his 50s, and he isn't that fussed about racing anymore. He wants to make cars go better. So Smokey loved racing, and he loved finding ways to be faster using his smarts, not his driving
So
skills.
what year are we in at the moment?
We're now entering the 60s.
Okay. We're going to find out that he like designed like the fastback Mustang or something.
No. But do I cover it? Yeah, I do. We'll briefly talk about it.
Keep going. Sorry. I'm just trying to get a bit of Nostradamus happening.
So in NASCAR is where some of the most far-fetched rule stretching occurred due to the stringent rules that were in place in NASCAR at the time. Due to his success in other disciplines, Smokey had already ended up becoming quite famous, and he ran the Chevrolet factory race team for NASCAR. Much of the work done on Chevy's high-performance 302 engine, the Hemi, at the time, using in multiple types of racing, had Smokey's fingers all over it. Like, this is the pony car era, right?
Yep.
Mustangs were killing it.
Yep.
And General Motors are like, we got to do something about this. So they were trying to make the Camaros and everything. They were trying to make it better. And they raced in a series called Trans Am.
The Z28 or the 22?
The Z28 was the special fast boy homologation of the Chevrolet Camaro. Yeah.
Yep.
So the 302 Hemi, the small block V8, Smokey was involved in the way that they did that.
Because if I was to buy a muscle car, like had unlimited money, I'd buy myself a Z28.
They had...
Do you know why they're called Hemis?
It's something to do with... I did look it up and now I've forgotten.
Pretty sure it's because the pistons are hemispherical.
Yeah.
Not flat.
Not flat, yeah. It's really... we get in the weeds with everything that Smokey Unick did in his career. He was very successful. When NASCAR...
The GT500 is a nice car, but I'd rather take a Z28.
I'd take a Z28 as well. Had nothing in it. Didn't even have a radio or aircon. It was just like some leather trim and some seats.
Just for fast boy.
They said you had to sell 1,000 to make it homologate. So you know how many they sold? They sold like 800 in the first year. And then they sold like 800 in the first year. And then they needed to sell a couple more the next year to reach that. You know how many they sold the next year? 6,500.
Yeah.
And the year after that, 20-something thousand.
You saying that reminds me of a story, and I don't know where I've seen it. It might have been in research for an episode, and I didn't know where I was going to slot it in, but I'll slot it in here. I cannot tell you what kind of car it was, but again, it might have been for a rally. Like you have to sell.
This is a story from the Grand Tour.
Is it?
Yeah. They had to build 1,000 cars.
They had to build 1,000 cars, the homologation.
Right. Yeah,
they only built 500.
They built 500, went and inspected them at one car park, took the guy to lunch, and while they did that, they drove him to another car yard and then got him to inspect the same 500 cars and went, here's your 1,000 cars.
Yeah.
This sounds like this dude.
Nah, this dude was he
It's a loophole.
He adhered to the rules.
That's not a loophole. That's just
lying.
That's just lying. And I believe that was Lancia.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think it's
it was
Lancia.
Lancia,
Lancia.
So when NASCAR said that a fuel tank could only be 22 gallons, Smokey was like, okay,
How many fuel tanks?
one fuel tank,
Okay.
but didn't say anything about the fuel lines.
Oh, okay.
So he replaced the fuel lines with 11 feet of 2-inch diameter pipe, which held 5 gallons of fuel just in the pipes alone.
Ingenious. Sounds like a massive fire hazard.
Yeah, till NASCAR found out. Now, there's this story about him driving away with no fuel tank, and this whole thing where they took the fuel tank off the car and they were scrutinizing it, and they said, here's 9 things that are wrong with your car that you need to fix. And he goes, better make it 10. And he started the car and drove away. apparently that's been blown out of proportion. Apparently he did start the car with no fuel tank attached and it kept running because the fuel lines had 5 gallons of fuel in it.
Fuel was in the lines.
Fascinating. Apparently he didn't say, better make it 10 and then drove away, but he could have, and it would be very funny.
Why not? Let's just say he did.
Another rumor was that he put a basketball inside the fuel tank, inflated to prove that it fit 22 gallons, then somehow deflated the basketball and then it fit more. But I don't think that's actually true. That'd be very, very funny, but I don't think it's true. He did really like pissing off NASCAR with this kind of stuff. And he even experimented briefly with putting fuel in the roll cage. He was like, this roll cage is doing nothing. And put some fuel in the roll cage.
This thing designed to protect me in a crash really has got a lot of wasted space in it. What if I fill it with highly flammable fuel?
It's not that uncommon. Old motorcycles from the 60s have, old Triumphs, they have oil in the frame.
Right.
Even some modern motorcycles have oil in the frame of the bike. Buell, for instance, which is a sport bike that uses Harley engines.
Right.
The oil is in the frame of the bike.
Mm.
I'm not going to get into that. It's science. Well, this is not a car or vehicular science podcast, but it could be. Anyway.
Cheeky mechanics.
So it stated in the rules that the fenders of a car could be modified and removed to remove excess weight on the car, and the front bumpers. It said you could. Didn't say had to, but you could. Now, Smokey was very, very clever. He knew a lot about aerodynamics. He'd been in IndyCar racing. He was one of the first people to put a wing on an IndyCar. He was like, he'd seen someone experiment with wings on open wheeled races. He's like, stick a wing. So he put like another one on, and then discovered that he could corner at like ridiculous speeds, but his straight line speed was wrong. Like he knew about aerodynamics. He worked out that his Chevelle SS was way faster with the stock bumpers and the stock fenders, but it was heavier, but it was more aerodynamic. So he did qualifying. He rocked up, and all the other drivers like, why have you got that on there? He goes, doesn't say I have to get rid of them. Says I can get rid of them. And they went, whatever, man. Qualified first, or like very high up, and then immediately started cutting shit off. Started like modifying the fenders to within the rules. It said you could do this much, so he started doing it. And everyone got all like, hey, you can't do that. He goes, doesn't say when. It doesn't say when. It says I can. It doesn't say when. They changed the rules after that.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that where they like force people to become more specific with rules.
Or just something happens and it forces a rule change. Like I said before, the guy that rode the wall.
It's
never been done before. Just hit the wall and put the foot to the floor.
His exact quote was, these rules say you may remove them. They don't say you have to. The rules also don't say when I can remove them. Realizing the effect of weight distribution on cars, he also experimented with shifting the center of gravity of a car by offsetting the body to the left to create a faster cornering car. He just moved the body to the left because it said that the dimensions of the car had to be the stock dimensions, but it didn't say anything about where those dimensions were. It didn't say anything about relativity to the wheelbase. It just said that the body had to be the body and the chassis had to be the chassis.
When the body roll from the cornering, there was less body roll for him because the weight was already
over on the left. He just moved the whole body of the car. Apparently, it worked really, really well.
In theory, it sounds like it would.
So they immediately changed the tolerances of how far the body could be from the axis of the wheels and all these things like that. And he was very pissy at that.
I like this dude.
Yeah.
Naturally. Oh, he was great. His most famous gambit has been debunked in a way, but the legend is huge, and it's the story of the 7/8 car. I don't know if you've heard this one. It's so good. In his 1966 Chevelle, number 13, of course, famously was said to be 7/8 the size of a full-size car. It's a great story, but in reality, what he'd actually done was he
washed it in cold water.
Well, they got a bit tricky because the dimensions were not that well measured. It was like length, width, and that was about it. So what he did was he raised the floor of the car, which lowered the body, but it didn't like lower the suspension because the chassis was the same. He just raised the floor so the body was lower. He apparently moved it back 3 inches. That one's in dispute, but that's why if you look at photos, somehow the front looks a bit shorter. He like somehow moved the body back on the frame 3 inches to then change the center of gravity of the car and make it way better. He did, however, modify the roof and the windows to lower like the profile of the car to make it faster.
More aerodynamics again.
Yes, and then just basically make a much better balanced car. Now, here's where the story gets a bit kooky because I don't know if this is true, but it could be. Apparently, he made another one that wasn't painted like a race car. And he would park it outside the racetrack at the front of the car park so that if someone said, that car's not right, that's not the right size, he goes, go and get me a Chevelle from the car park. Conveniently, there's their Chevelle sitting right there. Oh, we'll just pick this one. Bring it in. Ha! They're the
same size.
It's exactly the same.
No. Well
Smokey.
Done. Well done, Smokey.
Smokey.
Well done.
My hero.
Genius.
And he had a very fetching hat the whole time.
Hero.
Yeah. He's the huckster he's the Cheryl Kelby huckster edition. He's great.
Yeah.
Carol Shelby, not Cheryl Kelby. Yeah,
Cheryl Kelby.
Yeah. He's Bizarro Carol Shelby.
I like that one.
That was a good one.
Oh, Cheryl Kelby.
Smokey was a kook. He was great.
That's smart. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Sadly, Smokey didn't stay in NASCAR past 1970. He always had a big thing about safety to protect his wonderful drivers that he was a very big fan of. One of his best friends was one of his drivers, Fireball Roberts, great name.
Not a great name for a NASCAR driver.
No, not in hindsight.
Yeah.
At the time, great name. Yeah, he passed away.
In a fireball.
Sensitive, John. So
people want to know.
He regularly butted heads with the NASCAR founder, Bill France Sr., who's one of the guys. He's the founder of NASCAR. Apparently, once he threw a hammer at him, maybe. I don't know. He could have. There's a story that he threw a hammer at him.
His nickname should have been Thor.
It should have been
Smokey.
Thor. In 1964, Smokey's driver and close friend Fireball Roberts crashed in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh.
After 40 days in pain from the burns, he finally passed away. And Smokey went on a rampage trying to raise the safety standards for drivers, for the tracks, for the crew, for everybody. After many, many setbacks and failed attempts from Bill France Sr., basically. Bill France, did I say his name right? I write it down. I always get it wrong. Bill France Sr. After many setbacks and failed attempts, Smokey then left NASCAR in 1970, fed up with constantly getting pushed back about safety, something that should have been the most important thing rather than all his other antics. Now, famously, Smokey's not in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and he should be. And there's a big thing online at the moment about like get Smokey Yunick in the NASCAR Hall of
Justice
Fame.
for Smokey.
Justice for Smokey.
Where do we need to go to
I don't know how, but
sign
all
a petition for Smokey? I think knowing nothing about NASCAR before today, I think he needs to be in the Hall of
needs to be in
Fame.
the NASCAR. He's significant to the story of NASCAR. Okay, so email Chiquitos. Email NASCAR's customer service.
It sounds like he implemented a whole bunch of different, like they forced NASCAR to implement a whole bunch of different rules.
Yeah. If you ever see them with these big templates over top of the cars,
Yeah.
Smokey, 7/8 car, the smaller Chevelle.
Yep.
That's why. Got these big templates. Check everything. Okay, it's the right size. Yeah. It's the whole thing.
Somebody a while ago got disqualified for putting their hand over the there's like vents in the windows. They were putting their hand over that to stop the air coming in so that they had a better
It changed the aerodynamics. Yeah. They're very
things like
particular.
that these days, they are on. Yeah.
In the 1980s, Smokey designed the first safe tire wall for racing circuits that used tires and plywood to absorb impact rather than steel barricades. NASCAR, still not trusting Smokey, did not implement it.
Okay.
His legend still lives on today, and stories of his exploits are spun up constantly. Whether all of them are true is completely unimportant because he'll always be one of the most storied characters in NASCAR history. When he passed away, he didn't want like his effects to be burdened by someone managing his museum, so he insisted that all of it be sold. And like detailed how everything needs to be. He's like, sell everything, do this, pass the money on to somebody else. Don't make some museum for me. Get rid of it. Because he'd seen someone else that passed away and like their daughter had to run their museum and he said it made him miserable. He's like, no, absolutely not. Sell everything. And a lot of people have bought like his cars and things like that and then put them in their own museums, but there's no Smokey Yunick museum.
What a dude.
So that's NASCAR's, in my opinion, three quirkiest
quirkiest blokes. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
NASCAR's fun.
NASCAR is fun.
These days, not so much. I think these days it's a bit too, like, sterile.
Clinical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, they try and force drama through, like, this driver doesn't like this driver.
Social media and all that. Yeah.
Piss off with that. Just make the cars dumb and go quick.
Because the racing's pretty entertaining. There's no DRS. There's no, like, weird active stuff. It's just...
It's an insight into Aaron's psyche there. Just dumb and go quick.
Like if you watch Formula One and if you're like me and you get frustrated with things like Formula One, with all the
we are in the
science
midst of one of the greatest seasons of all time. Formula One.
Yeah, but if you get frustrated with all the like, you think they're over racing stuff, but if you're frustrated with all the science and DRS and they can't follow too close because it affects the aerodynamics, go watch NASCAR. It is just a V8 motor and they just drive it by
shake and bake, baby.
Shake and bake. They drive it by the skin of their pants and they just go real fast. They just gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast.
Like, it's really entertaining. Yeah. So thanks for listening.
Spilled my macchiato. I didn't get a chance to use that. I wanted to.
All of the Talladega Nights and Cars quotes.
Please go and watch Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
It
and
is
Disney's
phenomenal.
Cars.
And then what's the one that Talladega Nights is based on? I think it's Days of Thunder.
Yeah.
That's the Tom Cruise one. Yeah.
Don't know.
It is.
It is.
Go watch that one too.
So this has been the three interesting characters in NASCAR.
Yeah. That was fun. The three horsemen of the NASCAR apocalypse. All right. That was terrible. Good night. Good night, Chiquitos.
Good night, Chiquitos.
Take it easy. You've been listening to Cheeky Tales Podcast. If you'd like to see supplemental images related to our episodes or to interact with us about our episodes, hit us up on @CheekyTalesPod on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You can watch our episodes on YouTube or listen to them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.